Baby fish. Get the net, quick, quick, quick. Got one. Got one. What the heck do I got?
What's going on, guys? Berkley and I've here, coming at you with a new video for this week. And in this week's video, we catch some big fish. It's a late fall day. Water's in the 50-degree area. It was around 54 to be exact this day. And around this water temperature, there's a few key baits that I really like throwing. And that is the big Swimbait, the Alabama rig, and the spoon is another good one. I like to go around and target bigger fish this time of year, and a lot of times I will throw these three baits. But we're going to tell you a little bit more about that throughout this video, and at the end we're really going to break it down for you. But here we go, guys.
A little bit. So I start out throwing the spoon, and I just throw that out, let it sink all the way to the bottom, jig it up, and then let it fall back down, and jig it up, and let it fall back down. I let it fall in slack line, just to let it fall freely like a dying bait fish would. And you can also, if you see fish on your fish finder at a certain depth, you can also drop it to that depth and jig it around that depth as well. Now I decide to pick up the Alabama rig and start throwing that around. Again, I throw that out, let it sink all the way to the bottom on slack line, and then start reeling it real slow, and I give a little twitch here and there throughout the retrieve. That little twitch can help entice any reaction strikes out of fish. And it looks more like a school of bait fish running around, because when a school of bait fish flares, it usually means that they've busted that fish and see that fish, and it makes that fish react, especially if it's following or close by. Got one. Got one. What the heck do I got? Get the net, get the net, get the net for me, quick. There's another huge freaking walleye.
Does it go any further?
Hey, scoop him. That is a huge walleye.
That is really big.
Holy crap.
Oh boy. Oh jeez.
Thank goodness he just fell off.
Yeah. Can you hold them the same way, or do they?
No, they got teeth.
Looks like a feisty little fella. Big fella. Let go. Oh yeah, never mind. I see it. Oh wow.
Get my phone for me. It's in my pocket here. Look at that big old walleye, guys. That's a tank. That is an absolute beast of a walleye. There we go. There we go, guys. Check out that big old walleye. Okay, there she is at 23 and a half. 23 and a half inch walleye there, guys. One nice look. Now, just let that big walleye go. There she goes. It made it easy. I knew he wasn't hooked good. That's why I was like, crap, get the net, get the net. Stupid walleye seem to like the Alabama rig.
Do they not own?
This is the last, I don't know how many times I fished this thing, I've ended up catching walleye on it. The only fish I caught on it last time I was out with Dad was a walleye. One of the last fish I caught last year was a walleye on it. I'm stuck.
A few moments later.
Yeah, I just, the line snapped finally.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, that wasn't mine either, that was Dad's. Whoops. Sorry, Pop. Now, after losing that, I decided to pick up the spoon again and throw that and try around these fish. I've been seeing a few fish in a little school under a bunch of bait, so I decided to drop this spoon down to them and jig it around them. Got another big fish. Son of a... It's hung up on something. That's in my line. That's why it felt like a fish at first.
Got him! Got him!
There goes that thing now too.
But you really didn't have to plead your case like this.
Yeah. See what I mean now?
I'm just saying, you didn't have to show out just for me. It's okay. I believe you.
Glad you know. Now that I lost that as well, I decided to put on a big swim bait. I decided to try the new Berkley cull shad. First time I've really got a big chance to throw this, and I quickly decided to change it a little bit. It doesn't run quite as deep as I need it to here, so I decided to shove some nail weights down inside of it to get it to run to the depth that I need it to. And then I just do a slow retrieve with that and reel that along the bottom, trying to bang it off of rocks and stuff. Surprisingly, for having that single treble, it is pretty weedless, and this swim bait in particular is great in cold water and has a super wide wobble. Big fish.
Get the net, quick, quick, quick. Quick, Shy, quick. Quick. Whew. That's another big bass.
Holy Hannah.
This camera's not on.
Okay.
There we go, guys. There's a nice big bass. Of course, we don't have any freaking regular cam footage because it went off. So that's awesome. Let's let that big girl go. This fool's gonna come right in front of it because he told me to catch fish there. Let me show you guys something quick here that I did with that fish. Specifically with this cull shad to get down to that fish. I could see that fish with the live scope, and my cull shad wasn't getting deep enough and running deep enough to go down and get to him. So I took some nail weights and shoved down in the front of the cull shad, made sure it ran straight, and it did, and then got it to go right down to the depth that I needed to. You can make fine little adjustments like that and then end up catching fish. Well guys, here we are at the portion of this video where I break down what I did a little bit more this day to get on these fish. Didn't really do anything crazy to find the fish. I just went into a key funnel area, and on this lake in particular, the key funnel area on the main lake is one of the bridges. And this bridge in particular is on a little more main lake than the rest of the 3 bridges, and it also creates 2 big points and has real good deep water right by it as well as shallow water. So that is perfect area to start fishing in the fall. Anywhere you have main lake points close to deep water transition areas into shallow water is a lot of times where these fish will stack up, especially on windy days. They'll stack up on points that have those kind of features. But that's all I did to find the fish. And then of course I have live scopes, so I used the live scope to really pan around and find the fish then. But I used the live scope to find these fish. Now it was pretty windy, so I couldn't keep on them and watch where the lure was going with them and all that. It's just way too difficult to do that when it's windy. But the first big fish, the walleye, I was chucking the Alabama rig down through, just letting it sink, counting it down all the way to the bottom, and then reeling it real slow, giving it twitches here and there to try and entice a strike. And the walleye bit. And then, as you saw, quickly lost that pretty fast after. Then lost the spoon, was trying to throw the spoon down through them and jig through them at the depth that I saw these fish at. A lot of times that's a good way to get winter strikes, especially if the fish are suspended and up off the bottom. You can jig around that jigging spoon at their depth and then catch them. And quickly lost that as well after trying it a little. And then tied on the Berkley cull shad. Now, I threw it in right away to see how it would run and how deep that would go, and this thing has a really slow sink rate, So I needed it to get down to the bottom a little bit faster. We're fishing in around 40 foot of water right now. Even though the lake's really low, this section's right around 39, 40 foot. And I needed to get down a lot faster and a lot closer to the bottom. So I shoved a few nail weights in it. And that got me to where I needed it to. And I was trying to run that along on the bottom, real slow. This swim bait in particular, this new Berkley cull shad, has a real wide wobble, goes back side to side real hard, which is, I think, is a good action for a winter swim bait. It's not real active and real fast kicking tail. It's real slow side to side wobble, and once the water is getting colder and everything, these fish are a lot slower. So very good cold water swim bait in my opinion, and this was really the first time I got to catch fish on it, and it works. So these guys are definitely worth the money, and they're not that expensive for big swim baits like these. They're basically like the Mega Bass Mag Draft, except they're not 15, 20 bucks. They're only 10 bucks, 12 bucks. But that is pretty much all we did to find these fish and catch them. And my swim bait, I was throwing on my Savage Gear Squad rod with a Shimano Tranix 301 HG reel. And I got a red GMX's handle on there, a little bit bigger. I like that. I like that a lot better than the single big handle that came on it, that if you don't pay attention to its position when you're casting, can sometimes chuck baits off. You really got to pay attention to it, and I wasn't dealing with that anymore. Casted off one $80 bait doing that and said, yeah, we're not doing that ever again. So changed handles really quick. I really like these GMX's handles. This thing is absolutely awesome. Great for throwing glide baits, great for throwing big swim baits. Absolutely perfect. But I also throw that on 30-pound fluorocarbon is what I throw any of my big swim baits and big glide baits on. And that's pretty much all you need to know. Like I said, in this mid to low 50 degree water temperatures, this is what I like to throw primarily. Sometimes I'll go even slower and throw a jig on a really slow day, but most of the time I'm trying to catch them power fishing and trying to catch one or two really big ones, because wintertime is a time to catch big fish. Don't really care about catching 2 and 3 pounders. I want to catch fish that are worth it and worth being out there in that nasty cold for. If you're just going to catch the average fish, that's not really worth it. Even if you're catching a ton of them, in my mind, I would rather catch 1 or 2 big fish instead of 10 or 15 2-pounders, because you can catch 2-pounders anywhere all over the lake pretty much. But once you start getting around 4 or 5 and 6 pound, then that starts becoming pretty unique and interesting fish, and that's the ones I want to be catching. I'm sure you guys do as well. But hopefully you guys like this one. If you did, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll be coming at you next Thursday around 3 p.m. again. And I have a giveaway coming up. As soon as we hit 1,500 subscribers, we're going to be giving away 5 of my favorite lures. So to get entered into that giveaway, you got to be subscribed to the channel. You can comment for an extra entry. You got to like this video. And you can also share it on one of your social media pages. Definitely tag me in it or I won't see it and you won't get that extra entry. But those are all the ways you can enter. And like I said, guys, we'll see you next Thursday. Tight lines, y'all.